Hello Internet, this video is part of the Jeep Projects playlist on Scott's Garage, where I'm in the process of doing a complete frame-off restoration of a 1946 Willys CJ2A Early Edition Jeep with the help of my 89-year-old father, Doug. In this video, I'm introducing Dad to you. He is a Korean War vet, and it was during the Korean War that his love for Jeeps began. And this is one of many of his stories, and I hope you enjoy. Keep watching. So Dad, you were a young man when you served in the Korean War, and it was in the war, correct, when you first started driving Jeeps. So why don't you tell us about Jeeps that you drove and what that was like?
Well, it was on and off we were putting up a rhombic antenna field, and that was on a Wasi beach in Okinawa, and we were building. There were triangle-shaped antennas, and they spliced 62 60-foot poles together.
All right, so 120-foot poles in the air, spliced together. And you were a lineman, so you used to climb those poles.
Yes, I was.
All right. Do you know those poles are still there?
I wasn't exactly a lineman. I was in communications, and climbing poles was part of it.
You know those poles are still there in Kadena? I did a Google search in the Kadena Airforce Base, and it shows those poles, and it shows people climbing the poles, and you actually installed the poles, correct?
Yeah, we put they were sunk in 10 feet, and then concreted in there. They were put in 50-gallon drums, and then they poured concrete in them, and they had three top guys. A guy that anchors the pole down
with the wires, the guide wires,
and three belly guys, and the guys went over the sake plants. There was a sake plant there.
Oh, so the wires went over sake plants?
Yeah, yes.
All right. So that was right there in Okinawa, Japan.
Yeah.
So tell me, so you put up those poles, they're still there today, and you climbed all the way to the top, 120 feet?
Oh, yeah.
110 feet?
I had to hang out with my gas and feed out a insulator so we could thread it. There's three lines going in a diamond shape, and you had to reach out, and looking down, our line truck looked like a little toy.
So that was very dangerous work, hanging up there. And then there were helicopters involved, correct?
Yeah, the helicopters the feeders would pull them up to us. We had to reach out and then feed it what they call a chocolate bar. And there were insulators, and there was three of them, and with chocolate bars on them. You had to hang out in it while the chopper picked it up, and you had to feed it through the chocolate bar.
And what exactly were those poles there for?
What were they there for?
Yeah.
Well, I don't know if I should say it, but it's probably okay now. It was to give the bombing squadron a true north for their bombing.
So in the Korean War.
Yeah, but maybe I shouldn't even mention it.
Oh, well, I think you're safe. Now, tell us about Jeeps. So you're a young man, and did certain people drive Jeeps, or how common was it to be able to drive a Jeep? And what kind of Jeeps did you drive?
Well, at that time, they were leftover World War II Jeeps. They had the flat hood.
Yeah.
And then I think it was in probably 54 when they went from the flat the hood
and also a fender, I think.
Yeah.
To a rounder one.
Yeah, right. And it was kind of rounded.
Okay, so you saw that, and I think I could be wrong, but I think what you're referring to are the M38s. They're military Jeeps for the Korean War. They have the Hurricane engine in them, but you're saying there also were World War II military Jeeps that have the Go Devil engines. So there were old Jeeps as well as newer Jeeps that you would drive.
Well, mainly it was the older Jeeps, but everybody there was. We was in a squadron. We were the 17th Comm and the 18th Squad, and we had to share the same motor pool. So there was different Jeeps starting up at different times and taking off. And we also had to guard that at times.
So Jeeps were vital for the work that you did. Now on this Kadena, it's an island, right? Kadena Island, that's also the air base?
No, this Okinawa is in the Ryukyus chain. And there's a little group of island, they're called the Ryukyus.
All right, that's where the base is. And but it was on this island that you were putting up these poles.
Yeah.
So you needed Jeeps to get to some of the harder.
Well, we also had to put the poles on them that they were going to from one area to another. We had to back up and haul those to Awasi Beach where they were erected.
How were they spliced together?
Well, they had a right between the butt and the tip of the poles, and they had big metal clamps going around them to keep them in place.
So you would drive a Jeep and you were installing these high poles, and you needed a Jeep to get to those areas.
Well, they brought us to the site on a Jeep, back and forth from one air base to the other.
So it's how big is the island?
I think it's 3 miles wide and 60 miles long.
Okay, 60 miles by 3 miles. Well, so not small, but not large either.
But it's in a Ryukyus chain, and in that chain was Oshima, and then that's in the Ryukyus. And Oshima, we also ran our communications. It was a lead-covered cable to Oshima, and that's where Ernie Pyle was a war correspondent,
Mm-hmm.
and we had to splice the lead-covered cable, and then there was divers there that would put it on the bottom of the ocean.
All right, was that Airforce or was that Navy then?
No, that's the Air Force. We shared it at different times,
All right.
by installing the infrastructure, and we were bringing it back up to the way it should be. After the war, I was there, I think it's 7 years after the war, and there was all kinds of munitions that never went off yet, and all kinds of crap like that.
And that was a Japanese
Kamikaze.
it was kamikaze. So one of the areas that they took off when they attacked Pearl Harbor.
And their landing gear would stay, and they would kamikaze down on our ships coming in.
So 7 years after World War II is when you were there. So just walk us through a typical day where you would have to get in a Jeep and go someplace and install one of those poles. Did you ever drive? Did you take turns driving?
Yeah. I had to drive on and off.
Did you like to drive the Jeeps?
Well, there was a good way of transportation. Driving them, sure, that's fine.
Yeah.
That there's the vehicle that won World War II, I'll tell you.
Yeah. So while you're working in a typical day, did you ever have to spend the night on these remote areas, or did you make it back to the base?
Well, mainly we have to go back to the base. We could get back. They delivered our chow to us.
What vehicles did they use to deliver your chow?
Jeeps.
Jeeps, okay. You mentioned the sake plants. Was there anything more to that story?
Yeah, but I don't know if I should mention it.
Yeah, I think you should.
I should. Well, these belly guys and top guys went over the sake plants. And sake, there was Tayakoko, that was the strong stuff. Masamune, and there was kind of like a wine. 3 of them that sake plant was putting out.
Yeah.
So the GIs would take and on our line trucks there was water containers. There had a little spigot on it to get the water.
Yeah.
And they would fill it up with orange, kind of like orange juice and stuff, and then dump sake in it.
Oh, all right.
But I shouldn't probably be saying
No,
that.
that's all right. So the Jeeps that came with the chow, you had some adult beverages as well.
Yeah, right, yeah.
Hey, I hope you enjoyed the video and meeting my dad. He's had a tremendous influence upon me my entire life, and he's had a great influence upon Scott's Garage, my channel, whether he realizes it or not. And if it weren't for my dad, I would not be currently doing the Jeep project on Scott's Garage. Now, going forward, the Jeep project on Scott's Garage is being sponsored by Kaiser Willys Auto Parts. You can go to kaiserwillys.com. All kinds of parts for older Jeeps, for newer Jeeps. You'll find it there at Kaiser Willys. And you can use a discount code from my channel called SGarage. For any item, get 10% off with the exception of tubs or tub kits or tires. Hey, if you got any value at all from this video, please give me a like. It costs you nothing, but it's of great value to me. And we'll see you in the next video.